Hello, welcome, happy Friday, or I don't know what day of the week it is wherever in the world you are, but it's lovely to see you guys. I meant to do the stream on Monday, right after Lollapalooza, but these tech issues have been driving me goddamn nuts. Can you hear me okay? I had to do something different with this goddamn microphone. So I just want to know if you guys can hear me, if everything's tuning in correctly. But yeah. Oh, God, I hate this thing. Yeah, basically, there's a lot of tech things that you end up having to learn if you want to do anything on the internet. Like if you want to learn how to stream, how to make YouTube videos, blah, blah, blah. There's a shit ton of like tech things that are, in my opinion, complicated that like you have to learn. And there's a shit ton of people on the internet who try and help you. There's a bunch of YouTube videos that try and help you, but sometimes your problems are really unique, or there's just not a lot of like people talking about it online, and you're just like, well, fuck, what do I do? So yeah, I don't know. The longer I do stuff on YouTube, the more I like seek out or appreciate other YouTubers who like take time to bitch about the problems of doing shit on YouTube. And I'm like, okay, thank you. And then they all complain that like there's no one set way of doing any of this, and that you have to figure it out either by trial and error or by like finding someone who knows what they're doing, like either a friend or hiring someone. And depending on where in the world you are, or just like where geographically you're located, you might not be able to find that help. And I'm like, fuck. Yeah, like I could try and explain my issues, but unless you're doing this kind of stuff yourself, it would just go over your head. Honestly, it goes over my head. But basically, as long as my microphone is kind of working now, if you can hear me, then I am happy. I have done something right. I have put a band-aid on the problem, and I will, I don't know, keep working on this later. But I wasn't gonna miss another Friday where I couldn't hang out with you guys and gush about how amazing BTS is. So, thank you for joining me. This is the long-awaited Lollapalooza Gush Fest. And now we can also talk about bad decisions, because that released last fucking night. Oh my god, there's an avalanche of content now. Like, I expected this and I'm still like losing my mind. Like, I was falling asleep last night. I was like, oh, I'm so glad I get to go to bed. I went to my volleyball game. I came home, gonna go to sleep. And then I get like a notification and it's like, there's a video you need to see. It's this thing called Bad Decisions. Remember Yami? What the fuck are you doing sleeping? Wake the fuck up and go watch that. And I was like in bed like, I love you guys, but you're ruining my sleep schedule, my everything schedule. And yes, naturally, I did go see it immediately. So what did you guys think of Bad Decisions? I thought it was great. I thought the music video was really funny. I said this on Twitter, but you can make fun of ARMY. There's plenty of ways that you can poke fun at ARMY and all the shit that we do that's insane. We make fun of ourselves daily. And like that music video with the over-the-top I guess ARMY thingies, like behaviors, was just really funny. And I'm like, you did this in a good-natured way. Like, you weren't making fun of ARMY and talking down to us. You were just, you know, having a laugh over how crazy we are together. And I thought it was really well done, and I really appreciated it. And plus the song is really, it's an earworm. It's really catchy, right? I had the song stuck in my head after one listen. I love it. ARMY has to match BTS's chaos. Yes, exactly. Exactly. I also like how I watched it, and apparently we all had the same thought that when, what is the dude's name? Benny something or other? When he gets kicked out of the stadium and he's like, well, I'll just wait in line today. And the guy's like, it's assigned seating. It's not gonna help you. And like, I was waiting for the camera to pan away to the, to like the audience to show the audience, to pan away to show that there's like a line of armies already there, and them telling him, oh, get in the back of the line, and it's like 50 people deep. And then I went on Twitter, and apparently everyone else had the same idea. I'm like, yes, we're fucking insane. Oh, it's so great. It's so great. Like, and honestly, the whole like promotion where he dropped a USB in the forest and people were hunting it down, and then the fact that it was so over the top, like that's part of what he's poking fun at in the video, that like only Army would have the dedication and the motivation to spend a day hunting through the fucking woods looking for a USB of a song that's coming out already. We're all gonna have access to it in a few short hours. Plenty of armies were like, fuck that, I'm going. And it was really fun cheering them on and like retweeting everything about people, you know, figuring out where this USB had to be based on the location of the sun, the plants or whatever. It's just insane. It's insane. And I just like that at the end of it, the armies wouldn't leave and they had to make the police come. And then to break it up and say, okay, go home. You're done. You had your fun. Only to go home and watch this music video showing of like armies being over the top. I'm like, A+, you got us all to participate, whether we were physically there or like cheering them on online. So great. Oh. But okay. So to rewind, I wanted to talk about, hold on. I can't hear myself. Yummy, why would you want to hear yourself? You're the one talking. Just to make sure that you guys can hear me. Okay, is the music too loud? Is the music too loud, or can you hear that okay as well? Now I'm too loud in my own head. Technology! Why can't you just make a one-size-fit-all so that I don't feel like an idiot doing this? Music is good. Do you guys hear a buzzing in the microphone, or is that just me? Because if it's just me, I can put up with it. So, I hate that buzzing. If you guys, just let me know if you can hear the buzzing. No buzzing? Okay, it's just me. Okay. No headphones for me. There we go. I don't hear a buzzing. Fuck it! That's my solution! No headphones? No problem. Okay. So, oh my god. Like, after the amazing hour and 10-minute performance that they seem to have extended at the last minute, was that just me, or was it always supposed to be an hour and 10 minutes? Because I thought it was supposed to start at 10 p.m. my time, and I was gonna jump in at like 9:55 just so I could be there early. And then for some reason at like was it 9, what did I say? It was supposed to start at 10. Yeah, so I was like, oh, I'll join at 9:55. And then for some reason at 9:52, I was like, okay, I'll be extra. I'll just join in now. And then I opened Hulu, and Hulu was like, oh, we're just about starting. And I'm like, what the fuck? So yeah, so it started at 9:50 and it went until 11. This is Eastern time. I was just like, this is amazing. They extended it. They added the additional 10 prior to the performance. Okay, good. So I wasn't crazy. That's awesome. Does anybody know why that happens? Because you would think that they would already know that in advance. In advance of the concert. Like, hey, this person here needs 10 extra minutes for what they want to do. Okay, let's adjust our schedule several days in advance. But it was more like the day of? Or was that just supposed to be there to like excite us? Like, you get 10 extra minutes of Hobie. Because I mean, I wasn't complaining. I was very excited. I was very into it. But yeah, what a fucking performance. I am so proud of him. I am so impressed. I was so won over. I was so emotional. Even my camera's emotional, can't focus on my face. They tweeted it a few hours before it started. I was surprised. I think also the mayor making the announcement of 10 more years of Lolla. You think they gave Hobie 10 extra minutes because the mayor announced 10 more years of Lolla? Okay. I mean, I will never look a gift horse in the mouth if it gives me more time with BTS, but that's very interesting that something that's supposed to commemorate Chicago would be in conjunction with BTS. Who knows? I mean, it looks like the mayor and that other person, was it the founder of Lolla? I can't remember, but they both seem to be fully on board and understanding the power of BTS, and that if you want to shine a spotlight on something, you should get BTS involved, because then you will have millions of people paying attention. But yeah, so I took a shit ton of notes. I tried to organize them by topic. Honestly, at one point I just have like a stream of consciousness. I haven't looked at these in a couple of days, so we're gonna rediscover all my thoughts right after the performance together. Please feel free to chime in. I would love to hear what you guys thought. And yeah, let's just chat about it. Oh, cheers. Okay, so I mean, I guess the first thing I'll start with is his appearance. Foy says, yes, they understood when to use the big spotlight that was focused on Hobie's time. Yeah, they did. And then who was the person who was, sorry, I'm distracting myself, but who was the person who was talking about the economic effect of BTS? Because yes, it is real. The amount of people that BTS will bring into a city for a concert, the amount of money that generates, the amount of commerce and economic growth that generates is real and is amazing and is too big to be denied. And I always just want to say, like, that is us. That is ARMY. We create that. We always talk about how we made BTS untouchable, but we also, like, one of the ways we did that is by being so enthusiastic and engaging in everything they do en masse that our impact cannot be denied. It literally cannot. And because of that, all of these places, you know, like, that want BTS, they have to cater and they have to entice BTS to come to them. Because I forget who, but we were talking recently on Twitter about how apparently BTS are well known to be like the most sought after and requested act of all time, and how it's really hard to get them to do anything because their schedule is so full and they're so busy. But yeah, so that was the vice mayor, I think. Okay. The entire mayor's office went into overtime trying to convince everyone that including BTS was a good idea and they should keep doing it. We've been new. But yeah, so I just think it's amazing that it's because of us, because of ARMY, because of our sheer love and passionate, enthusiastic engagement in everything that BTS do that make BTS able to choose what they want to do and gives them the preferential treatment that they deserve and lets them be untouchable in any of these places. It's really hard to reject them because you're going to be passing up money, attention, engagement, like people visiting your city, people talking about your city online. Like, it's crazy. And it's because of us. That is an amazing fan artist relationship, if I do say so myself. Maybe a little bit biased, but whatever. Okay, so going back to what I started talking about, Hobie's appearance, like literally the way he looked was amazing. And I keep coming back to like this thought that I had throughout the whole performance, that everything was so thought out to the like most minute, minuscule detail. Like, Hobie's a perfectionist, we know that, and you could feel that everything had been practiced and practiced, and he had made a conscious decision to do things a certain way. None of it was sloppy, none of it was like loosey-goosey. I don't know how to say this, but like it was all like really well planned out, including his outfits and his appearance, because you know, you kind of got the sense that the performance was broken out into two segments. The first segment being him dressed in, you know, his black getup, having his hair extensions and his like ripped up shirt, and he looks so fucking cool. Like, he just looks so fucking cool. Like, I've known he was cool, but when I saw him on that stage, I was like, wow, you're impressive. Like, I'm intimidated by how cool you are. And so his outfit was very, it's simple, right? It was like a black shirt and some like black cargo pants. I don't know how you call them. And it fit with him playing through his most recent album, Jack in the Box, and him like playing all of his darker songs, all of his edgier songs, things that are more raw and like nitty gritty and less, I don't know, filtered or polished. And it fit where he's just like, don't focus on me. Like, I am here, I am conveying all of these things to you. And then later, all he had to do was flip his outfit into white, and it was really, I thought, striking to me that literally changing into white and becoming this pop of color on stage transformed like the mood. Obviously the music, you know, was brighter, but it was seeing him on stage, seeing him wearing just the opposite of black. That was all you needed to like switch your mindset and be like, oh, okay, we're being hopeful now. So simple and effective. Yes, exactly. There was never any dead air. Yes, he had planned everything out, as I would expect him to do, but it was just incredible to see. And that's setlist. You know, I will say, I saw the email and the tweets going around where, was it his label, or was it was either Weverse or Columbia Records saying like, hey, create your own dream setlist for Lollapalooza. And I was like, I don't like to do that kind of stuff because I hate creating expectations when I watch anything, especially BTS related, because if I have expectations, I set myself up for disappointment, and there's never any reason to feel disappointed. So like, I just like to go in head empty. Like, I will take anything you give me with a smile and gratitude and happiness. Like, I was never expecting anything. And I know there are other people who like speculating, like some of my good friends like to do it, and I'm always just like, don't speculate with me. I'm not participating in this. I can't do it. I have to have my head empty for concerts, for comebacks, for music, for everything. So I have completely forgotten where I was going with this sentence, but oh yeah, so the set list. But yeah, so it was a fucking phenomenal set list. And Jazzy, you're the same. Okay, good, I'm not alone. Bung Luna says he even paced things so that the audience could take breathers. Yes, the emotional, like, sorry, my thing got caught. The emotional like highs and lows, and the way he gave himself breathers and the audience emotional breathers, it was just beautiful. Like, literally everything I've ever thought about BTS performances, all the aspects that I've always appreciated and thought they do so much better than other artists, he did it here to like the nth degree. It was insane. I was just so impressed. And I can understand why it gave him so much stress and why he worried himself sick and stressed himself sick before this performance. I can understand, like, if you think about it from his perspective, if you're someone who's such a perfectionist and you want to think about all the details and make all the details perfect, and then you have this huge performance coming up and it's getting more and more hyped up and people are getting more and more excited for you, and all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, like, what have I done? This is so intense. I'm gonna fail. I wanted, like, I can't do this and pretend not to care about any of this. Like, I can't just be like, it's gonna be a whatever, like, it is what it is performance. I'm just gonna do my best. Like, if you're not that personality naturally, I think it's really hard to find that personality or to switch your mentality up. So I'm sure, like, that's where some of his anxiety was coming from leading up to this, where he's just like, I've planned everything, but it's still not perfect, but it could be better, but I need to do this, but now everyone's expecting, like, perfection out of me, and even if they aren't, I am, and what the fuck am I gonna do? I'm not ready. I hate everything. I just want this to be over. I understand that kind of mentality completely. So cheers to him for fucking getting over it and executing everything to a fucking T. Just... MK says, I really hope he knows what a phenomenal show he put on. I don't know if we'll see something like Lollapalooza again. It was truly a once-in-a-lifetime performance. Exactly, it's literally what I was about to say. I think the exact same thing. That I want him to know how amazing that was, because, like, I know I know Jimin told him. I'm sure he saw the reviews, but I hope and I wish that actual armies could somehow convey to him, like, no, you fucking blew our minds. I personally came, like I said, came into this empty-headed, but it was also for me, like, I had enjoyed Jack in the Box, but that kind of artistic expression from him was still too new for me, and it was so much different from what he had been putting out before that I needed more time to, like, adjust to the understanding, like, oh, this is also him. This is his authentic self. This isn't him doing a concept or, you know, like, being dark for, you know, trendy purposes. This is him just actually expressing an authentic side of him that we haven't seen because for whatever reason he didn't want to share it or he didn't have a chance to share it. So watching him perform at Lollapalooza was what for me finally clicked it into place, where I was just like, oh, this is you. I see you. I see you performing. I see you dancing to this music and singing and rapping to this music, and I can feel your soul through it. And I'm like, I see you a lot better than I did before. Parts of you that had not been accessible to me before are accessible now, and I'm so impressed and I'm so proud that you found the strength or the courage or whatever to reveal this part of you. MK says, yes, exactly. Seeing it in person made it much more real. Yes. Okay, I'm really glad I wasn't alone in thinking that, because I'm just like, in a way you could say, like, I wasn't completely sold on Jack in the Box and the concepts, or not the concept, but like the idea. I was like, yeah, okay, I get it, but I don't know it. And after seeing it at Lollapalooza, I'm like, I know it now. I get it, and I can now see this side of you going forward, like in whatever you're doing, and also going backwards. I can see that aspect of him that wasn't being fully, I don't know, fleshed out in whatever he was talking about, or other music he's made, or just his interactions with BTS. Yumi says, I feel like no matter what I expected, what he was able to do went beyond that, and I loved it so much. I wasn't ready at all, but yes, same. Yes, exactly. Janelle says, I appreciated the album a lot more after the performance. Me too. J-Hope killed it. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he fucking did. The other thing that I think Bung Luna says, I always knew he was a great entertainer, but this went beyond. Yes, I think we've always known. I mean, we've always known that he's a perfectionist. He's really an incredible dance instructor. He's in charge of all their performances. BTS depends on him a lot. But there was never a chance for us to see his work executed by him and him alone. Because I think in a group setting, what I've observed is a lot of the time, he's the mastermind of a lot of stuff, but he's not the front and center. He's not getting the spotlight. He's content to make sure that everyone in the group is being spotlighted equally, like when they perform as a group. And you know, so it's like, you know that he's the powerhouse behind this, but it's like a quiet power that we don't really have a ability to appreciate because we don't see it because we're not part of BTS and with them behind the scenes, unfortunately. So this was the first time, Lollapalooza was the first time that we did get that. And it's just like, yeah, I knew you were good, but you're fucking good. Like, Jesus Christ. And the other thing that I wanted to talk about is that I think the fact that like he likes to create a narrative story, which we've seen in Jack in the Box and how one song flows into the other. He seemed to have done the same thing with the set list for Lollapalooza. Did you guys notice that? Like, I was like listening to these songs and you know, the order that he chose, and I know like what the concepts and like what the big ideas are from each song, like the takeaways from each song, and I'm like, I like this conversation, this story that you're telling me. Like, one song flowed into the next, and it all felt like it was spelling out who he is through that whole journey. Do you guys know what I mean? I could give you my thoughts on like what I think the set list meant, or you can tell me what you think the set list meant. Oh yeah, and also, I somehow I knew that his performance was going to be an hour, but for some reason, I didn't think that he was going to be playing a lot of songs that were old or that were not fitting with this like new idea of being dark and gritty and authentic, like Jack in the Box was. So I thought that the concept that we got in part 1 of the performance was going to be the whole thing, which is why for some reason when he came back out in his white outfit and they started dancing to Dynamite, I like burst into tears. I was just like, you haven't forgotten what, I don't know, it's like you are just as proud of like the bright side of you as you are of the darker parts of you. And me as the fan who has like been here this whole time and celebrated all these sides of you together, I have not been left behind in chapter 2. Everything that I liked before, like Hope World, Dynamite, Ego, you know, Map of the Soul music, like all of that. Even fucking Love Yourself. Like, oh, I sobbed when he started performing Just Dance. Like, when I realized that was a possibility, and then when he actually did Just Dance, full on waterworks. Like, I don't know. I think there's so much emotional meaning wrapped up in those songs for me. And I also would say for the fandom in general that I was just like overwhelmed that he's like, no. I am just as proud of all of this as I am of my most recent personal work. And we're all going to celebrate and dance to this together because fuck you, we are. MK says, Piece of Peace was such a surprise to me, but it was perfect to set up for Equal Sign. Yes. Jazzy says, I started crying from Just Dance too. Okay. Again, I'm very happy to hear that. I'm not the only like emotional crazy person. My husband was sitting next to me also watching all this, and he looks over and I'm just like red and sobbing, and he's like, oh, you like the performance, having a good time, okay. And then he just ignored me again. Yumi says, I was so happy with how he handled his hour. He made me cry several times. Yeah. Jazzy says, then I kept crying during chicken noodle soup. Yeah, yeah. Oh, his friendship with Becky G and the fact that it's ongoing to the point where she felt so grateful and comfortable with him that she needed to say on stage in this public space that, like, I'm really grateful for you and our friendship is incredibly touching. Yes, I cried a lot at that. And the fact that, like, Hobie gets really uncomfortable when he's complimented, and, like, he keeps getting cornered by, like, women who compliment him, like that and IU in her interview that she did of him. And I'm just like, please continue to make him uncomfortable with praise. He deserves it so much. Becky G respects him so much. Yes. It makes me wonder, like, how their friendship continued, right? Because typically you make a song with someone, you wrap up your project and you move on. But and there is a language barrier between them. But I would imagine if you have a text chat, then you can translate back and forth using Google or using a like asking a translator that you know, because I'm sure both of them, well, especially Hobie, probably Hybe has translators that you can be like, what does this mean? Okay, good. That's really sweet to me that they've managed to have that really sweet friendship and connection despite so many barriers in the way of, you know, culture, language, geography. Music really is the connector. Janelle says it's hilarious to watch him squirm. It is. Because he deserves it. He deserves that praise so much. The other thing I wanted to say is, like, what another aspect, one of millions, that I was so impressed by was his stage design. Because the way I understand it is Lollapalooza, you don't really have that much time or room to have your own unique stage. And it's all basically pretty plain because they have to set it up really quickly between performances. So it's just basically a stage and you're on it. So if that's the case, what do you have to play with? So for a lot of people during the day, they were wearing crazy outfits, or they just gave up altogether and they were just focused on, like, crowd interaction. And I think there was an advantage to Hobie going at night because his lights and the way the lights changed and the, like, the images projected onto him and the stage were really immersive. And I just want to clarify that from my personal experience with playing around and learning how to do lighting for fucking YouTube, for fucking streaming, even now, look at all my goddamn lights. You don't even see all the lights in front of me. Like, lighting is really hard. Understanding, and it's really hard to make it look good. It's very easy to make lights look cheap and having people project, like artists project images and colors onto a stage. Like, there is a risk of it looking cheesy or just, you know, like, looking cheap. None of that happened with Hobie. I had these thoughts, and I was particularly impressed with how all of his lights changed color, how those lights played off his black and white outfits, how like there were times when he was, like, hidden by, like, different patterns that they were projecting, and he embraced that instead of just being like, there's a pattern on the stage and I'm just gonna keep performing. Like he interacted with the lighting is what I'm trying to say. Again, which goes back to how much he planned everything out. How every single fucking little tiny aspect of this was an artistic choice by him, and it was made to further convey the message that he was trying to get across. You know what I will say? For once, I felt like I actually feel confident in my interpretation of what he was trying to get across, because he spent so much time explaining, or not so much time planning out every aspect of what he was trying to convey with his music, using his outfit, his stage, his performance, whether he was dancing or just standing in place. From our review of the lyrics in a previous stream I did, like, despite the fact that I don't speak Korean and can't hear the Korean lyrics off the top of my head and know what he's talking about, despite everything in the way that usually makes me feel a little more difficult in interpreting their artistic message without doing homework. In contrast to all of that, because he had spent so much time planning out every single aspect to convey this full-bodied message of his like artistic ideas, I feel like I actually got it, and I feel like I was included. Does that make sense? Because I can't, like, I feel like that's part of the reason why I feel particularly emotionally satisfied and emotionally full coming away from watching that performance, because I feel like I understood more than usual what he was trying to convey, and I heard it and I was really engaged with it. And also maybe it helped the fact that, like, what I did like is that they had the subtitles on the screen behind him while he was performing, so that people in the audience would know what he was singing, which, again, 10 out of 10. Smart. You have a lot of people there who aren't ARMY, who may become new fans. And hell, even English-speaking ARMY would appreciate it. You may still know what he's singing about, but I think it's still nice in the moment to see the English lyrics and go, yes, this is exactly what I think it is. I can be part of this. I don't know. Maybe some people won't agree with me, because I know there's a lot of people on ARMY Twitter who say that there's no language barrier with music, and I will say there are plenty of ways in which that is true, but I would also say that's not 100% of the time true. I speak 4 languages. I will be the first to tell you that the language barriers do exist, and I think they will always unfortunately exist. And even music has language barriers. There are ways, there are things about language and the culture behind that language that get lost in translation, and you can still 100% enjoy the music even if you don't speak the language it is being performed in. But knowing at least some translation of what's happening live in front of you really helps. I don't know if that's a hot take or not, but that's my opinion. MK says, Hobie just feeling the atmosphere and lighting during Blue Side. It was beautiful. That's exactly what I was thinking of. I thought his like, the way he basked in it, his expression, it really conveyed the mood of Blue Side in a way that, like, the original version of Blue Side didn't really have lyrics, right? His performance there was what that was supposed to convey without the lyrics, and I'm just like, mwah, chef's fucking kiss. Ellie says, even though the stage wasn't on the scale of a BTS performance, the attention and care he put into planning the set was still very apparent. Yeah, I think it really was. Do you think it was apparent to non-fans? Or do you think this is only something that an ARMY would catch? Jay says, I didn't even notice the English in the background. I was just enjoying the music and the mood. Yeah. I mean, I watched it on Hulu, so I didn't see a lot of the English translations. I will say, though, the funny part is like the way they had the camera behind him sometimes, you could see what was on his like prompters. So that was very helpful for me. Just also hearing seeing the English lyrics as well. I was just like, thank you. I'm one of those people that like subtitles on everything I watch. I just like to get the full experience. I want to know exactly what you're supposed to be saying so I can know it as you say it. I don't know. Maybe it's like a multilingual thing. I just don't trust myself in any singular language. Maybe it's that. 22 says, I was at Lolla and there was a lot of locals that were there for previous sets that stuck around to watch and they really enjoyed it. Yay! Even got asked song names so they could listen on Spotify. That's amazing. That makes me so happy. Please feel free to share more if you have more stories. I went on Reddit to see what everybody was saying because I had seen someone posting on Twitter that there was a thread on there asking non-fans what their reaction was. And I did see a lot of really positive, really nice, open-minded responses that really made me feel good. I do not recommend, if you guys haven't looked at that thread, I do not recommend going to look at it because there was, as usual as in any Reddit thread, there's a lot of drama, a lot of nitpicking and bickering and nastiness there too. And like, even if you see one nice message, the next 5 under it are nasty. And it's not even it's not even necessarily non-fans responding to the prompt. It's like maybe one person who's supposedly an ARMY or a BTS fan responding and like saying something that's maybe borderline xenophobic or weird or just immature, and then everyone like yelling at each other in the comments. So yeah, long story short, don't look on Reddit if you like your good feelings, if you like the good vibes you've gotten from people, non-fans enjoying the concert, because the Reddit will maybe ruin that for you. And the other thing is that on the Reddit, there were other threads where people were complaining, like non-fans were complaining that ARMY had camped out the entire day at that stage so that they could see Hobie, and they were quote unquote breaking concert or festival etiquette, because supposedly festival etiquette is that the people in front of a stage are supposed to like rotate frequently because you're only there to see a specific artist, and then you move on, and the other people who are really big fans of the next artist are there to, you know, they get a chance to be in front. So there was a lot of bitching about it, and I think they were also mad because TXT performed on Saturday, and there was a lot of TXT fans, MOAs, in the audience, and they were camping out all day, and so they pissed everyone off. And so people online were saying like, you know, like you need to be nicer or acknowledge the fact that MOAs tend to be younger, so you shouldn't bully children. Everyone yelling at each other, trying to say that, you know, ARMYs are bad festival goers. And there was even like one dude who was claiming to be someone who worked on like sound mixing for BTS concerts, and he was at both LA and Vegas, and he was both trying to defend ARMY and also I don't know. This person, we cannot prove who he is and where he was. He seemed to be knowledgeable, but he was also very active in all these threads, and I was just like, okay, it's not that serious, bro. Like, everyone's hated ARMYs for a long time, and like, as much as you want to bitch that there are fans as passionate as ARMY or MOA who are willing to stand in front of a certain stage all goddamn day because they want to be as close to their favorite artist as possible, like, you can bitch that that's not fair to everyone else or that's not convenient, but I don't think that's ever gonna change unless BTS members or TXT members get their like own dedicated stage. Because there's just a discrepancy between how passionate those fans are, ARMYs, MOAs, and how passionate everyone else is, you know, for their artist. the more passionate fans are always going to win, and they're always going to be willing to go the extra mile, 2 miles, 3 miles, 100 miles to have a better experience and be closer with their artist. Sorry. If you're just casually at this festival, then you have to casually accept that you're not going to get that close. I don't know. Those are my 2 cents. I was reading these threads and it was a lot of people very like bitchy about it. So again, don't go to these Reddits if you want to feel good. They're just full of nastiness. Ask other people to mine them for the good stuff. That's what I did. I took screenshots of all the nice responses I could find, and then I shared them on Twitter. I was like, here's the good stuff. Don't look at anything else. MK says, I always appreciate when English subs are provided. Even though I've memorized what the song's meaning is, seeing the words as it's happening hits me way, way harder. Exactly. Because in that moment, you can pretend you speak Korean. You can pretend that you can get the full effect of the words as they happen. Plus, I think it makes it easier to understand if you know what the meaning of the words is at that moment. It's easier to understand like a BTS member's expression or hand gesture, or like it's just easier to understand why they're reacting or the way they are, and how it ties into the song. Yumi says, that was amazing that there were translations, even if those of us watching on the stream didn't really get to see them. Yeah, they weren't really for us. That's okay though. That's okay. I'm glad they at least had them for the people there. Also, this might be another unpopular opinion, might be a hot take, but I know that Army Twitter yells a lot about how you shouldn't need translations to appreciate BTS music, and you shouldn't cater to Western audiences with BTS music, and all of that gets lumped in together into this big pot of do not help non-Korean speakers at all ever. They need to do their homework because BTS are Koreans first and everyone else can fuck off. And I think doing things like putting subtitles behind your stage so that they were really cool. They were interactive lyrics, by the way. So putting those on the stage behind you as you perform so that people who don't speak Korean can understand in real time what you are performing is amazing and goes a fucking long way. And I think that was very considerate of Hobie to make that decision to do, and it acknowledged that he knew that there was going to be people there who didn't speak Korean, who didn't know him or his music, and who might be interested if they were aided by a fucking translation lyric. Like, at this point, in my opinion, everybody, another hot take, and at this point, anyone who was going to become an army on their own kind of has, in my opinion. That doesn't mean that the amount of people who can become fans of BTS is over, but it means that the people after this maybe have to be dragged a little bit, kicking and screaming, into the fandom and help, overcoming their prejudices or barriers. And you do that by sometimes facilitating the enjoyment of the music, by providing translations, by making it a performance accessible on Hulu, by promoting it everywhere. Like, the promotion for Hobie's performance was also really good. It was everywhere, including that really creepy doll in the car, in the convertible car that was sitting outside of the Millennium Park in Chicago. You guys know what I'm talking about? There's a picture on Twitter, or a video on Twitter, of like this really creepy doll that was supposed to be the Jack in the Box sitting in a car that was playing Jack in the Box songs, and it says like, oh, J-Hope performing at Lollapalooza tonight, blah blah blah. That was one of many promotions that were done, but I thought it was creepy. Yes, it was creepy. Thank you. Thank you. The dollar car creeped me out. Thank you. I was like, the only way they could have made it creepier was if they had someone in there, and if people walked up too close, they made the doll scare them. I almost wish they had done that. That would have been funny. But yeah. So long story short, I think Hobie acknowledged that there is a cultural and language gap between him and people in Chicago, and he took steps to overcome it, and I think he did a phenomenal job. And I would say that I think BTS should do more of that going forward. Everyone else, we pull into this fandom, some of them will have to be dragged in here kicking and screaming. Or not at all. I'm also in the camp of like, if you can't recognize that BTS is amazing, then they're not for you. You don't deserve them. I'm also in that camp too. But I was kind of dragged into this fandom kicking and screaming. Because I really, I've said this before, but I did not have a good experience trying to get into K-pop. I thought the barrier to entry was way too high. There was a lot of gatekeeping. I had no idea what anyone was singing about. I had no idea where to find the music. And I just gave up, and I was like, no, I can't be a part of this. So when I discovered BTS, I was like, no, not for me, not for me. And I was very against falling into the rabbit hole. And I got pulled in against my will. And obviously, it's been a really great money suck, time suck. They've really enriched my life. But sometimes you need to give people a nice big shove into the BTS hole. Bung Luna says all the reviews were raving about the great stage and lighting. Yes. Yumi says, I don't know how the other stages went for the rest of the festival, or if the average person who would think his staff planned for it. I'm a subtitles on everything kind of person too. Yeah, I mean, I will also say that watching all of these behind the scenes Bangtan bombs, showing him really planning out the minutia, like filming his videos and sitting behind the chair and being like, okay, I want to tweak this, okay, that, blah, 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 and conferring with people really helped like contextualize and conceptualize for me what it looks like when they're in charge. So that when I say, like, even if I know, I think BTS have a huge hand in their artistic expression and what they're doing, I don't know what that looks like. And all I remember is them when they were much younger and they were getting a lot more aid and instruction and help and guidance from their staff at Big Hit. And now it's different. I haven't seen much of that difference until I started seeing these Bangtan bombs for Jack in the Box stuff. And you can just see Hobie being like, I want to do this, 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 this. And I'm also thinking back to, what's the third docu-series? Break this. What is the third docu? Bring the Soul? Break the Soul? No, not Break the Soul. But I'm gonna assume it's Bring the Soul, where they were trying to figure out how they could make Speak Yourself more. Break the Silence. Bring the Soul. Okay, good. Okay, MK, you freaked me out just like it is. Bring the Silence. Shh, everyone. Was it Break the Silence? God damn it. All right, let me look this up. But like when they were trying to plan for Speak Yourself, and they were like, how do we make this even more over the top than Love Yourself? And they were just like literally discussing like their set list order and how they wanted to do the performances. That really also gave me a look into like what it looks like when they are in charge of their own deal. So it is Break the Silence. Why do they always... I know why they do it. It's an artistic choice to make everything stand for BTS, but it makes it so hard to keep it straight in my head. It ends up being like a Mad Libs of what B word and what S word I can I can put together. Anyway, good job, thank you. Okay. I feel like that's all BS because other fans of other artists do that too. Sorry, I'm way behind in all of your comments. Jazzy, were you talking about the subtitles thing and people bitching about subtitles? I'm gonna assume you were, in which case, yes, I agree. Jay says, I was so surprised by the number of army bombs. It was so pretty from the stage cameras and when the drone was flying through the crowds. Yes, I agree. For some reason, I don't know why, but it didn't occur to me that there would be so many army bombs. In hindsight, it makes 100% sense. It makes complete sense. Especially given that this performance is happening at night, those army bombs were gonna come in clutch. For some reason, I also didn't. I was like, oh my God, army bombs. And I loved seeing them. I loved seeing that representation of how many armies were there, because you could also tell that like the lights were like in the middle in this U shape, but you could see sporadic dots on the sides. So you knew that there were other people on the side who just didn't have army bombs. So you could see like how big the crowd actually was. It was so cool. And I know that there was a lot of people impressed by these glowing orbs and these light sticks and being like, what is this? Can I get one? And people were saying, yeah, fork over $60 and go wait in line. And yeah, you can have your own. You can own your own army bomb. Just don't call it that at the airport. But I think it also helped Hobie feel that he was supported, because you know, from his stage he could see all of that, especially when he was at like that platform that he had to go down the stairs for. He could see all of this from up there, and he could see that like, my people are here, my audience is here. Bung Luna says, I call BS. Popular acts get their fans to camp out for their stages. Oh, really? Okay, thank you. Yeah, I don't really have much experience with festivals because as I mentioned before, I'm afraid of that many people in one place. But I would imagine that this isn't the first time. Like, when Beyonce performed at Coachella, I would imagine that people camped out in front of her stage all day too. It happens. You're just mad because you think you have a prejudice against K-pop fans and think they don't deserve to be there the way you do because they are cringe or they're too passionate and you're the casual, cool music fan, so you should get priority over them. When in reality, every artist would fucking kill to have fans as passionate and engaged as ARMY. That's the truth. Oh, 22 says, more Hang Sung was the song that got them hooked because the crowd was insane. That was at the top of everyone's list when they were asking for song names. I got goosebumps. Armies were on point. Yes! Oh, I love that so much. Oh my God. And that was like in the beginning too. I keep hitting my goddamn mic, sorry. That was like the 6th song in. Oh my God. I love that song. To me, when I heard that song, that was his like ode to like, I am still part of BTS. Like me and the fucking like me and the boys, like me and my dogs, like we're always gonna be together. Like we're always together. Like we're smashing up the streets. I mean, I will also say, hearing, you know, that at these venues, at these kind of festivals, they're always doing their best to mute the mics so that they don't get the audiences, that they only get the performer. And the fact that ARMY was blowing out those mics anyway, and you could hear how loud ARMY was was incredible. It made me so proud. It made me so happy. It made me feel like we were all there in spirit. I know we've all been like praising Lolla Army, as we should. Like, they did us proud. They did us so proud. Jay says they've enriched us and we've enriched them. Yes. Yumi says, I'd be okay with adding subtitles for live shows, even if we know what the song means. I feel like reading them while experiencing the song live would be interesting. See, I agree. I agree. I understand both sides of that argument, that they are Korean and so are their songs, but yeah. Yeah, like, the thing is, if you think about yourself, right? You like, I do not speak Korean. I wish I had the time to learn or the brain power to learn. Alas, I do not. But I love BTS to pieces, and I will always be their fan, and I'm loyal, I'm dedicated. I throw my fucking wallet at them every time Weverse puts something on sale. Am I a lesser ARMY because I would appreciate English lyrics? No. Is there something wrong with me because I haven't found the time to learn Korean? No. At that point, it's no longer fun. It's like, I don't think those things are required. And I think it is important to acknowledge that I became BTS fan while, you know, with the way they are now, with the way they perform now, without English lyrics, without translations, without, you know, stuff on a screen behind them as they perform. But that would enrich my experience if they had that. I'm not saying I require it. I'm just saying it would be really fucking nice. I would love it. I would celebrate it. I would see nothing bad about it. But I'm not saying I require it. I just think sometimes it is worth acknowledging that they are performing now in the other half of the world, the other side of the world, and to a much more English-speaking audience. So finding a way to bridge that language gap would help everyone, include, like, sure, you can say like, oh, no, it would help non-fans, but it would help me, a real fan, as well. If I said this on Twitter, I'd be yelled at. And I don't feel like dealing with that, so I'm saying it here. Yumi says, us hearing that they're in charge and seeing it just puts it really into perspective. Yes. MK asks, does this mean that all the audiences for the other stages at night were dark? I think so. I think all you get is like the stage lights lighting up the front of the audience, and I think everything else ends up being in the dark. Which, I don't know. Personally, if I was performing to like a black pit at night, I would be like, are we all sure people are there? We can't see them. Are we sure? Am I performing to no one? I feel like it would affect my attitude for performing. Versus when I can see people, when I could see ARMY and all their lights, I'm like, those are my people. Those are my people. They've each spent at least $60 on those ARMY bombs. Those are my people. They are dedicated to me, and they showed up for me. I'm gonna give them a fucking crazy show that they'll never forget because they deserve it. BB Vista says, the ARMY bombs are perfect. BTS, when they see them, feel less nervous when they see them. They know their armies are there. Yes, 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 yes. Agree completely, 1000%. Amy says it was awesome to see ARMY bombs and knowing J-Hope could see ARMY there. Yeah, that was the other thing. I felt comforted to know that he felt comforted. You know, because I think it's really hard not to feel emotionally tethered and connected to BTS because we know them so well and they've talked so much about how they felt during a performance afterward. So we know enough to be like, are they feeling good? Are they feeling bad? Or are babies good? Like, and like you can't help like caring about them that much. So when you can see like, oh, okay, they have support. You can see it on their face. You can see it in the audience. Like, we're good. It just, for me at least, it helps me relax. I'm like, okay, we've covered this. Yes, people. Yes. MK says that wild and free army chant and seeing his reaction makes me so emotional. Oh my God. I have teared up and gotten emotional over watching that clip on Twitter so many times. I can't even tell you. Like, I'm addicted to seeing that expression on his face when he realizes like how many people are chanting it back to him, how many people love him, how this moment where he was, I don't know, expecting a tepid response because it's such an old song, and he got such a enthusiastic roar. That moment of him being touched and overwhelmed and emotional makes me like break, because I don't know, it just makes me wonder, do you really still doubt yourself? My love, we adore you. How many more ways can we explain it to you? I'm really glad that happened though. Bung Luna says, I hate the fans that ask them constantly to speak in English. That's different than asking Hybe to provide subtitles to their foreign fans. Yeah, I agree. Plus, I mean, like, the people who ask them to speak English, I always feel are people who are either young or immature or feel frantic because they want to feel included in whatever BTS is talking about on the live, and they don't know that where they can get translations from, like on Twitter, or they feel frustrated. I don't know what it is, but I think those people always seem to forget that if BTS could speak English, they would. Our babies are doing their best to learn English, but it's a foreign language for them. It will never be as easy to learn as Korean, and the amount of time it takes to learn a different language is really it's a long time, takes a lot of effort. You need to learn how to reprogram your brain to have a different operating system. That's what learning a language is. So, like, you can say, speak English. They don't know how. Like, if they would, they could. That's the part that I think those people who make those comments forget. And it makes me feel bad because I don't want BTS to feel bad. Like, it's okay. We'll figure it out. We got translators. We'll figure out some way. We'll wait for the live to finish and rewatch it later with subs. Like, it's okay. It's okay. Mimi says, I don't understand the difference between having subtitles on their MVs versus on a live song. I get things get lost in translation, but I agree, no requirement for it, like you said. Yes. Aw22 says, I can't talk enough about Hobie's stage presence. Like, it's actually insane how good he is live. So stable, so charismatic. He deserves all the praise, and I'm glad Jimin came to support. Oh, I'm really jealous. I was not going to be able to make it there no matter what, but I'm very jealous that you got to see that. And I totally agree. I think that it's so hard to explain charisma to an outsider. Like, if people ask, oh, like, well, why do you like watching BTS perform? And you say, oh, their charisma. You get a blank. I've tried to explain this, and I get a blank stare from people. They're like, okay. Because, like, what the fuck does that mean? And it's hard to explain that, like, you watch someone perform, and they're magnetic. They're so compelling that they pull all your emotions into them, that you can't turn your attention away. That when they rise, when the emotion rises, so does yours. When it drops, so does yours. That, like, you end up being tied to them. That, to me, is what charisma is. And that is something that it's ephemeral. It's invisible. You can't learn in a textbook how to have charisma. It's just something you have or you develop naturally, and it's something that draws other people. And the fact that every member of BTS can draw millions of people to them, to the fact that Hobie, apparently there was 105,000 people watching his performance. That's what the official number is from Hybe. Like, one man was able to capture that many people and pull that many people in. Like, that is incredible. That is an amount of charisma that is like superhuman. Like, it's like a powerhouse. And how do you explain that to someone who's never watched BTS like that? They'll just be like, okay, whatever. Like, you're just being over the top. And it's like, I wouldn't be a fan if there was nothing to be a fan of. I am a reasonable person. I'm not prone to I was about to say I'm not prone to hysterics, but where BTS is concerned, maybe I am. But like, I consider myself like a normally an even-keeled person. I'm actually very judgmental about the things I consume in terms of music, content, like movies, shows, reading. Like, I'm very picky. I think most of it is shitty. And the fact that BTS captured me heart and soul, and I love everything they put out. I think it's so high quality. I think there's so much soul in what they do. Like, to me, that has to count for something. Like, and I'm not the only one. Like, there's millions of us. 14 million people watched on Weverse. Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't even know what the number on Hulu was. They didn't release that number. Like, it's fucking insane. And again, you try to explain that to someone who's an outsider, and they just look at you and they're like, you're exaggerating. It's like, no, I'm not. I don't know how to convey to you that, like, you, a normal human being, your average Joe, could also fall in love with them if you gave them a chance. Like, and then you're in this black hole with me, and we're just losing our minds together. Like, life is better down here in the BTS black hole. Wow, it is hard to explain what being an ARMY, seeing them live is like to a non-ARMY or even a bit of a casual fan. Yeah. I also wanted to back up. We were talking about them speaking English. I think Hobie speaking English, what he memorized to say and all the stuff that he practiced to say, perfect. And I say that from the sense of like, I don't know if it was him. I'm sure, actually, I think it probably was him. Watching other people perform, he kind of got the gist of what Western artists who speak English, the kinds of things they say in concert, the casual, blunt way that people talk, compare it to how, you know, like the way they usually all BTS all have their ments during a concert. There's like a different cultural expectation between them as Koreans and us as fans of Korean artists of what they say and how we react to it. Like, their ments, opening and closing ments, are usually a lot more thoughtful, polished. Like, they take time to express an emotion, a feeling, a memory, and because we are used to that and we understand that that's the way that Korean artists, BTS in particular, like to express themselves, and we enjoy it, that kind of stuff to a Western audience, like festival goers to Lollapalooza, is much more likely, in my opinion, to come across as like pre-planned and fake, as kind of it's all staged, it's not real commentary, and you're celebrating someone like reading off a script to you, even if that's not actually what's happening. And you know, like BTS have more than once gotten this criticism, this accusation that they are scripted, manufactured, it's not real, and everybody thinks that ARMY is crazy because we support all of this. Meanwhile, we never think like, oh, it's scripted. It's still genuine. It's just a form of expression that comes from a different culture that tends to be more thoughtful, more eloquent, full of more prose. There's just a difference in communication. And that kind of difference, I think, is sometimes hard to acknowledge. And I think BTS may have struggled to acknowledge and adjust to that in the past, which is why they've repeatedly gotten that criticism. Which is why I was so impressed that Hobie at Lollapalooza was much more gritty, down to earth. His swearing, his random comments like, you know, you guys are fucking crazy, make some fucking noise. Him saying like, I feel like I'm gonna die because he was that tired from running around. Like, those are the kinds of comments that just resonate more with a Western audience. Like, is that good? Is that bad? I don't know, but I think that's just the way it is. They appreciate the unpolished, raw, almost inappropriate comments more because that seems like a more in-the-moment, genuine thought process being, you know, conveyed to the audience. And Hobie nailed it. And I think it's even more special because his pronunciation was so good. Like, you could tell that he had thought so hard about how to marry his preferred style of preparing, planning everything, making sure everything's perfect, with this Western need for things to be imperfect, unpolished, unprepared. And I think us as armies, we can still understand where he probably practiced his English, where he picked out his phrases, what he wanted to say, and all that stuff. But that's because we're army and we already love them, already love him, so it doesn't matter. But I think to a Western non-fan, it probably came across as more genuine and relatable, which, like, way to fucking go. Way to fucking go to do your homework on that cultural difference and take steps to address it. Like, I'm very impressed by that. I really am. Good, I'm glad. Thank you for being chatty. Jazzy says some people just don't want to get it. Oh, about BTS. Some people don't. Some people just, I think, feel like it's not for them. Like my coworkers. It's been almost 5 years of me plastering BTS all over my walls, making them stream the music videos at least once every comeback, them seeing me take time off to travel everywhere for BTS concerts. Like, even now, I feel like just some of them, they'll listen to me talk ad nauseum about BTS. And there's just something that I feel like they don't feel like they're allowed to like it. Like, they're like, oh, I'm like almost kind of like they've gatekeeped themselves. And I'm always like, okay, why are you doing this to yourself? We're having a good time. We're all listening to my music, because I blast music across the entire office after 5 p.m. because my thought process is, if we're all still here after 5, let's have a dance party. And then sometimes earlier in the day, I go, I don't want to work today. Let's have a dance party. It's about noon. Okay, I play music all day long, maybe. But yeah, so sometimes people exclude themselves from joy for stupid reasons. BB Vista says, yes, I have a friend that is being mean about BTS because of J-Hope's success. He doesn't know about them, he just has a bad impression of K-pop. Yeah, I think a lot of people have a bad impression of K-pop. I think a lot of people in that Reddit thread that I read had a bad impression of K-pop. And it's just really hard to combat that. I think the only way you do is, like some of those non-fans saying that they were surprised to see how diverse K-pop fans are, how diverse the ARMY fandom is, by seeing them in person, by witnessing. I also was thinking about how cool it was that there's a big misconception, especially in the West, that we only like BTS because they make sugary pop hits. And no matter how many times we tell them that no, BTS make a lot of rap music, a lot of hip hop music, like a lot more grungy stuff, there's a lot of melding of genres in what they make, and that's why it's so cool to listen to their stuff. People in the West just hear Dynamite or Butter and they're like, this is your boy group, this is what you like. And I'm like, that is one facet of what I like about them. One. They have like 300 others that I like. And to be able to just very proudly see all these armies come out dressed head to toe in army gear. I saw one on Twitter, one picture of one army wearing like a full Mang body costume, and it looked really like ratty. It literally looked like the stuff of nightmares, I'm not gonna lie. But they were there wearing that proudly, and it's like seeing everyone wearing all the stuff that non-fans and people in the West go, oh, that's like your typical K-pop fan, like they're so they're so cringy. And then seeing all those Lolla armies lose their shit and sing along to all of these traditional hip-hop, trap, rap songs that are more nitty-gritty, and like having all of these armies just as enthusiastically participate in singing along to those. I hope that changed some people's minds, that like we can look one way, doesn't matter how we look, we can like a shit ton of different kinds of music. K-pop does not only mean sugary pop hits, and that shouldn't be something you look down on anyway. People are just missing all the joy that BTS brings. Yep. Yumi says, I showed equal sign to a friend of mine and she just didn't get it. I'm like, oh my god, I hope you did this. BB Vista says they don't even understand how important the lyrics of the songs are. I go back and forth on that, because I agree the lyrics are very important, but not everyone listens to music the same way. And some people just like to listen to the melody. In the past, that was me. I just like the melody. If you can move me with just the emotion of the music alone, I will play the song over and 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 over. And maybe on the 50th time I play it, I'll go, what are the lyrics? Maybe I should check those out. So I think the lyrics add a level of meaning that make the song more enriched and way better, like a more enriching experience to listen to. And I think that that's true for all of BTS's songs. But I also don't think it's necessarily a bad thing if you're just someone who likes the music, the beeps and the boops, and not worrying about the lyrics. So I go back and forth on, like, that was actually something else non-fans were saying in the Reddit, that some of the less positive ones were just like, I wish I knew what he was saying. I didn't know what he was saying. Apparently the subtitles, the lyrics on the stage weren't for every song. Like, they stopped at some point. Maybe they only had them for the first half, because you remember Hobie posted Jack in the Box lyric videos for every song. So maybe they only had them in the first half of his performance. BB Vistas, the story J-Hope is telling, and even the one song where he is saying, stop, don't fight. These are words we know from J-Hope over the years. To put it into song means more to us that grew with him. Yeah. Yeah. I really like Stop. It's really catchy. And I will also say I really enjoyed the like band arrangements for all these songs that he made for Lollapalooza. They took the songs that I had already gotten used to listening, and they switched it up So it like almost made the song new again. And I was listening to it again for the first time, but fortunate enough to know at least what it was about. So that was cool. 22 says, heard a lot of people talking about how the pace of his set was perfect. Yes, agree 1000%. To where the crowd wasn't pressured to be at 100 the whole time, because artists try to do that during festivals and the crowd gets tired. Yes, that was something else I wanted to bring up. I thought it was paced so well. There was moments of emotional dropping, there was emotional highs and there's emotional lows, so that as he was recovering, you as the audience also got to recover. I just think that's so important. I've never understood, and you're right, I've seen other artists just try to keep it at like 100 the whole time, and I'm like, you do realize that we're all humans and we all get tired, and if you keep everything at the top level the whole time, then it starts to mean nothing. You have to have highs and lows so that you can carry people emotionally with you. Maybe that's part of the reason why it's so easy to find BTS compelling when they perform, to find them charismatic. Because being charismatic, like I said, is when they take your emotions and you sync up with them and they pull you forward. So BTS in both their group concerts and individually understand that, and they give you time to keep up with them, versus other artists are just like, I'm gonna be here this whole time, hope you can keep up. It's not as sustainable. Yumi says, I would be fine if they only spoke Korean for their concert ments with our translator, but yes, that is so true about raw stuff. His English was so good though, he's improved so much. Yes, he really has. Whether it's like learning to speak it or just pronouncing it, either way, it sounds so good. Like, I think he's come a long way, and his performance tonight, everything he did, not tonight, sorry, at Lollapalooza, tonight, we've gone back in time, really sets him up in a good place to be more accepted in the West than he was before. Do you guys know what I mean? Like, do you know what, like, it's just, he on his own chose to display himself and convey his performance and his appearance and the way he communicated everything in a way that is relatable to a Western audience, to the point where it's easier for the Western audience, Western music industry, to understand where he's coming from. He feels less foreign. Does that make sense? Aw 22 says, yeah, his English was great. What he said and how he was saying felt very natural, to be honest. The cussing caught me off guard, but I loved it. I love when BTS swear. I love it so much. it's so naughty, and it's so like, we know they all swear, but usually it gets bleeped out or they self-censor. And so on stage is like the one time where it feels like they let themselves get carried away and they start expressing themselves off that, like, even more unfiltered than they were before. And I just love it. I love it so much. BB Vista says, yes, I see a lot of people calling J-Hope's music as K-pop and saying how they have to check out more K-pop after this experience from J-Hope. But would you call Hobie's music K-pop? So here's the thing. If you're a non-fan, and I encountered this a lot with my coworkers, who, despite knowing that I'm very much into BTS, even though I've explained to them that BTS is not the same as K-pop, they still say K-pop all the time. Because to a non-listener, what K-pop is just an all-encompassing term for music made by Korean artists. So when they, I mean, there was a lot of bickering about this in that Reddit thread again, of like people being like, BTS are K-pop, shut up, they're BTS pop, nah, nah, nah. And it's just like, you're gonna turn people off the more you yell at them like that, but okay. In my opinion, if you are a non-fan, if you're a first-time listener, if this is all new to you, you think K-pop, Korean popular music. This is all popular music made by Korean artists. It must also be popular in Korea. This is all K-pop. Okay. I'm gonna go check out more Korean artists. I'm gonna go see what's out there, what I like. Okay, go check it out. Go find out that in the online space, people don't like to call things a certain way, or don't. Go enjoy music without participating in the sometimes cesspool-like environment of enjoying music, whether it's K-pop music, BTS music, other music, and just like live your life. I always think that like the intent of those comments is those people trying to say like, I was not open-minded to Korean music before, but I want to be now, so I'm gonna go check it out. And who knows, maybe they might come back and be like, okay, no, the rest of this isn't for me, but I like J-Hope. I'll stick with him. Whatever, that's their journey to have. Janelle says, I wait a week or two before I read the lyrics. My connection to a song is always how the song makes me feel, even before I know what they're saying. Yeah, I agree with you. I have always been a person who is moved more by music than words, if that makes sense. Which is funny to say because I am a writer. I speak multiple languages, but none of those things are tied to my emotions. My emotions are tied to experiences and people and a music, a melody, the way things are put together. That is people and experience and an emotion all put together, because it's people singing at me or rapping at me or performing in playing instruments at me. They are trying to convey something and provoke an emotional response from me. And I think I allow myself to get carried away in my emotions and in my emotional reaction to music because I feel like I can trust myself more in how I'm interpreting what they're conveying, like how I'm interpreting the music versus interpreting lyrics. I've always been that way. I'm like, you may have said it one way, and I can try to interpret what you meant, but sometimes I'm just like, it's going over my head. But then in the music, there's like this beautiful instrumental riff, and it's really emotional and poignant, and I'm like, you're conveying loneliness, you're conveying a yearning, you're conveying this kind of delicate emotion that's really hard to put into words. I get you now. I felt that way about D2, Yoongi's mixtape. Yeah, I feel that way about most music. Bung Luna says Jack in the Box was meant to be played live. Yeah, I agree with you. I actually was thinking about that, and I was wondering if he made all those songs with like, because you know, they always talk about how they make music, and even as they're making their group albums, they're thinking about what it would be like to perform live, how that would be different, what the choreo should look like all of that stuff all happens in tandem. So I wonder if Hobie was making Jack in the Box and he was already in his head picturing how he would perform it, and maybe how he would perform it at Lollapalooza, because all of those things get planned out way in advance about who's going to be on what, performing where. Amy says, also don't get me started on how my coworkers all think I love them only for their looks. Don't get me wrong, I appreciate them for their visuals, but that wasn't what pulled me in or made me stay. I agree. One time, I had a coworker that I no longer work with, but she made a point when she found out that I like BTS to specifically tell me that she didn't find Asian men attractive because they were too feminine. And I was like, okay, I don't care. And then she would repeat that to me. And then and I was just like, do you feel insecure looking at my posters? Like, what? I don't care. I don't need you to be sexually attracted to these posters in my office. They're just other humans. What do you, like, what the fuck? Anyway, and then one day we're having a meeting and it's like with a bunch of important people. And I think she was trying to one up me or look good by putting me down in front of all these people. And she was just like joking about how, like, she's like, oh, are you gonna do what Ollie London did and go get, you know, plastic surgery so you can look like BTS? And I think she thought that she was being funny because it was, I don't know, so ridiculous. But come on camera, focus on me. But as we all know, that is a very touchy subject and that man is sick in the head. And her saying that, I literally saw red. I have never had to physically restrain myself more. And everyone in the entire room, like, this is think kind of like a board meeting. Like, it was a very big, important meeting. And I'm sitting at this meeting and I'm staring at her like, I'm gonna fucking murder you. Like, all I can think of is how angry I am. I can hear the blood in my ears. And she looked at me and I've never seen someone with a more obvious look of fear in her face. Like, oh, I fucked up. Oh my fucking God. And it was to the point where our area president, who's like 2 or 3 levels of like above me, was just like, yeah, I don't think Yami likes that. Like, you shouldn't have said that. And she got cowed and like put in her place and she was silent for the rest of that meeting. And I'm like, damn fucking straight. Do not try to put me down by whatever. People are crazy. But yeah, long story short, I understand you guys and all the bullshit that we all have to go through with people not understanding why we like BTS. People being uncomfortable with how happy we are being fans of BTS. I don't understand why it makes so many people that uncomfortable. They can't process it. And I'm like, I'm living my best life here. What the fuck do you want from me? Like, I'm not going to make myself miserable or like less happy and cut this out of my life because you don't know how to do with it. It is not my problem if you are so close-minded to the world or so uncultured and unexperienced in other countries and cultures in the world that I like don't fit your box of what someone should like. Like, that is your problem, not mine. Anyway, MK says, I sincerely hope that the other BTS members will look at all this love and support that we have for Hobie and his music and feel encouraged to show and perform their own music. I hope so too. I was thinking that. I really hope that they see how enthusiastically we received him and go, I want that. I want that too. Okay, I'm gonna work twice as hard, 3 times as hard. I'm gonna put in as much work as he did because clearly there's room for it to pay off, and what you put in is what you get out. I hope that this has made them so much more excited for all their chapter 2 stuff. And I actually think after watching that performance, I think we have an answer to the question that Hobie poses in Arson. Should he put out the fire or stoke it even more? The answer is stoke it even more. Like, you think this man is gonna put out the fire after experiencing something as delicious as Lollapalooza and millions of people around the world watching him and him alone pour out his heart and soul in a beautiful artistic expression on stage? I think he's realizing that there's no question that the fire has kind of run away from him. It was never tame. How can you walk away from us? How can you walk away from that kind of experience? Literally no one else in the world, in all of history, has had the fan base that BTS has. that each of them individually have. Like, it's a forest fire. Yeah, it's a fucking wild forest fire. Like, like, and all of us, the funny thing is like, they are kind of insulated from the fire of army because they're surrounded with our love. But I think putting on the kind of performance that Hobie did, stepping out onto that stage, pouring like his entire soul out and exposing himself to the risk that people don't like him as much as he hoped they would, or don't know him or support him as much as he hoped they would. Exposing himself to that risk is like taking away that love shield and just allowing himself the potential to be burned. But it also could be this opportunity for him to literally be lifted higher in the flames. And like, I'm picturing that scene from Game of Thrones, where Dany burns down that, like, you guys know, Game of Thrones, Daenerys in like season, was it 4 or 5, where she gets kidnapped by, oh, I'm forgetting everyone's name, the horse people again. And then she like locks them all in that hut and burns it all down and just comes out and she's surrounded by flames and everyone's like bowing to her. That to me is like the imagery that I get of Hobie on stage, where it's just like he's surrounded by the fire he started and he can't stop. He can't stop it and he just wants more. I'm so happy for him and us. 22 says, yeah, it's very weird how people will come up to me and say stuff when I never asked for their opinions in the first place. Like, why do you care? BB Vista says, one coworker said all of them were ugly except JK. I feel like I have a solo lurking. She especially does not like Jimin. Like, what the hell? Some people I've also found don't like BTS because secretly they do, but they've never allowed themselves to explore a feminine appearance for a man or doing anything that they perceived as feminine, like skincare or BB cream or hairstyling. And so they can't stand looking at this person who is indulging in all the things that they've told themselves and been told that they can't enjoy or partake in all of their life, and they feel like this person is blatantly like flaunting it in their faces, and they're like, no, I don't like you, no. Because I posted about this on Twitter, but I had a coworker who's extremely conservative who's made some comments to me about things where I'm just like, you make this comment assuming that I have the same like perspective and opinion as you, and we are on completely opposite sides of the spectrum. What the fuck? Why did you say this to me? This is kind of gross. So that was the person who came up to me because I have a picture of BTS on the outside of my door. Okay, I have pictures of BTS all over the fucking office, but there's one in particular on the door to my office, like the outside door, and it's from the like BTS membership kit from last year where they're all in their suits and they're all like working in the office. So this really conservative man who's the opposite, like as far as you can get from anything that's like BTS related, he points to Jimin out of the blue. I barely talked to this person. He points to Jimin and he's just like, this is the most beautiful man I've ever seen. And he's looking at me and I'm like, yeah, I agree. And he's like, most beautiful. And then he just walks away. I'm like, this picture has been hanging there for several months. And obviously BTS has been around my office for like 4.5 years. And I'm like, did it take him this entire time to come to terms with the fact that he actually likes Jimin and Jimin's appearance? Okay. Not all of us are quick. I'm happy he admitted it, I guess. So yeah, all that to say, it's never too late. On22 says, I know they probably all will have different ways of promoting and performing their solo stuff, but I always wonder who else from the group would want to do a festival like Hobie did. Would be so cool. Yes. Oh, I think JK would. Actually, I think Namjoon. Well, didn't Namjoon and Hobie and Yoongi, didn't they participate in some festival at some point? Like, and they performed their ciphers there? What was the Air Force festival as well? That Air Force One? I don't remember what these were, but like way earlier in their career, the rap line did some like festival appearances, I think. The Japanese Sonic Festival. Thank you. Yeah. So I think they did that stuff, and maybe they thought it wasn't the right direction for their image, but now that they're all separating to do solo stuff, maybe some of them will revisit that. And RM was invited to a rap concert, and the rap line went with him to hype him. Oh, yeah. I think there was a lot of things that as a group they felt constrained by, because their group image and the I don't know, the expectations of the kind of music that they would make, and the idea that the public had at large and their fan base of like what, I say fan base, but like it's more like the media, what the media expected they would make was one thing, and they felt constrained by that, and then it turned over time into they felt constricted by that. And even as their artistic styles grew, they didn't have the space to explore and express them. And that is one of the reasons that they've said, and I think, that they needed to try to do all their own stuff so they could have the space to explore themselves artistically. And I just think it's really funny, because I do think a lot of the stuff that they put out together and the message they were sending, there was a lot of like business strategy behind it of like how to appeal to the most amount of people. Funny thing is I think that now that they've all separated to do their own stuff, they're going to find just as big of an audience for their individual stuff. Because we are all very versatile listeners, and we are very happy to indulge and support a lot of different kinds of music and performances and whatever they want to do. Like, so I hope that whoever made that original business strategy and was very focused on sticking to it and making sure they made broadly appealing music and content will have to eat their hat and be like, okay, I guess I don't know shit. Aw 22 says, we're in this for life. I hope the Tannies know this. They better, honestly, like, come on. Have some faith in us. Yumi says, yeah, because it wasn't just his concert or BTS one where it was only his fans. It was a festival. But ARMY was like, challenge accepted. Yeah. Bung Luna says, I must have a don't mess with me face because no one has ever come up to me and said anything about them. Yeah. Yeah, maybe you do. They have better eyebrow game than I do. That is true. That's random as hell, Yami. What did I say that was random? I already forgot. BB Vista says Tiger JK is dropping something on August 9th. It's possible RM will be tied to the song or another song on the album. Ooh, yay. I love that. Anyone else overwhelmed with the amount of content we're getting? Like, Jesus Christ. It's not even trickling. It's just raining. It's just pouring content. And every time I try to take a breath, someone is like, oh, more content's coming out. And I'm just like, okay. Granted, like, I'm very happy for all of this. Like, I'm not complaining, but it's also like, it makes me really feel that all this time before they announced their break or whatever, that they were holding back so much, and they had, like, it's like having a hose and they had just like bent the hose and it was just filling up with water, filling up with so much content of all this stuff that they've been working on and they want to release, and now that they're like, Okay, chapter 2 is us doing separate stuff. They fixed the hose, and all of that content is just coming directly at us. I hope you guys like all my visual metaphors today. I'm full of images today. It's very hard to speak. Alt22 says the group image has changed so much over the years. I think after a while it did kind of restrict them a bit. I like that they're now doing what they want. Like they def needed this. Yeah, it makes me happy too. The media loves to stick them in a box. That always annoyed me. Yeah, it's like the media's like this. It makes me feel like the media is the stupid ones who's like, well, so what genre are they? Wait, we don't get it. Wait, can you explain? And the rest of us are like, it's not rocket science. They can be more than one thing. Like, keep up, keep up. You don't have to be so fucking simple. Your coworkers comment about Jimin. Oh, that is the most beautiful man I've ever seen. It was very random. It happened early in the morning too. So I was like sitting at my desk, bleary eyed. It's like 9 something in the morning. He's like, that is the most beautiful man I've ever seen. And then runs away. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that is the truth. Janelle says, yeah, this is not what I was expecting, but I love it. I appreciate all the content. Yeah. I just remember that all of us were like, it's fine, we'll have a break, we'll put out, we'll rewatch Run BTS, we'll rewatch all of their blah 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 stuff. I even said that. There's no time. There's barely any time to keep up with any of the content they're releasing. I'm like holding on by the seat of my pants, like, new article, new video, new live, new everything. I'm so behind. I will forever be behind. MK says, I still need to watch the latest episode of In the Somme. Taeyeon, the Wooga Squad are wonderful to watch, and Run BTS is already coming back, and now we have the free concert in October. Oh, you mean In the Soup? Yeah, I haven't even started that. Is it on Disney Plus for everyone, or just Disney Plus Asia? I can't keep up. I literally can't keep up. Like, I love them so much. All of my free time is devoted to them. And yet I'm like, I can't do this. Okay, it's not on my In the Soup. So is it on my In the Soup? It's not on my Disney Plus In the Soup. So is it on a Disney Plus Asia? Can I use a VPN to watch it? Has anybody tried that? 22 says, I keep forgetting that now we are getting 7 different comebacks, and with bad decisions, it means we'll get subunits like we got Vocal Line. I'm waiting for that rap line and Meg collab. Yes, that'd be fun. I'm also really proud of them for taking the step forward and being like, we want to just have mini collabs. We want to do little things. We want to experiment. That to me is the greatest sign of a healthy artist. If you are still experimenting, if you are still going, ooh, what about this? What about this? What about this? And not sticking to some established formula, then you're a happy artist and you're going to stick around because you're having fun. You're exploring whatever the fuck you can make. I won't be surprised if we get a BTS OST for a Disney soundtrack with that new little Disney Plus contract they have. Oh yeah. That would be real smart. That would be real smart for everyone involved. I would love that. Odd22 says it's going to be released worldwide eventually. At least that's what I've read about In the Soup Friendcation. Do I wait? Do I go look for it in unofficial places? Like, I'll pay you to watch it. Just give me a place where I can watch it. I want to know about these friends of Tay's, because we only know very tangentially about them. I had so many comments about Lollapalooza. I've barely gotten through them. Let me just read you my comments so you can see my like stream of consciousness right after the performance. In all caps. Hobie performed the fuck out of that. His every move, every pose, every pause, every look, every comment, everything was perfectly timed, perfectly framed, perfectly enhancing for his message. Didn't think I would cry so hard to see Just Dance performed, but there it is. He is really good at attention to detail. He deserved this performance, this kind of attention, this chance to showcase how full his arsenal of talent is. Oh yeah, this man can rap, sing, dance, emote, perform. He really is a jack of all trades. That was something else I was thinking as I was watching his performance. He has so many talents. He really is the full package. And I love that there's this phrase in English called jack of all trades, meaning like you're good at everything. You got those skills. And the fact that that phrase is jack of all trades makes me think of Jack in the Box as like, here's another meaning for that word. And I think it fits so well with him. I don't know if that was intended, but I love that interpretation fits. All22 says, I'm sorry, I need to scream about when he performed Ego, and I got to see that live. It was a tiny bit of consolation for the Map of the Soul 7 tour being canceled because I had tickets. Yeah, that's amazing. Rip. I was going to go to 5 concerts for Map of the Soul. I went, obviously, to none of them. I had really great seats, too. God damn it. Oh, question for you guys. Of his entire set list for Lolla, what was your fave performance? Fave song that he performed? To remind you, the first song was More, then Pandora's Box, then Cypher Part 1 for the OG armies, as he said, then Baseline, then Hang Sung, then Piece of Pop, then Equal Sign, then Stop, Blue Side, Safety Zone, What If, Arson, Music Box Reflection, Dynamite Tropical Remix, Daydream, Outro Ego, Hope World, Trivia Just Dance, Chicken Noodle Soup featuring Becky G, and Future, which was such a sweet song to end on. I really like that. Future is his version of Hope. Oh man, you must go with the flow. I think for me, it's a tie between Hang Sung, Arson, and Hope World for some reason. Like, I loved all of them, but I really liked Hope World. I think because I had forgotten about that song somehow. Like, in that moment, it didn't occur. I forgot that Hope World was on Hope World. Yeah, I know, it's stupid, but I forgot that song existed. And so when he started performing it, it hit me like a ton of bricks. And I was just like, I felt hopeful. I felt like an emotional release at Hope World that I didn't expect, and I loved it. And then Just Dance, because it made me sob. But I think I'll go with Hope World, just because I had that really strange out-of-body experience that was really unexpected. What are you guys saying? Yumi says Hang Sung. Bung Luna, I thought Future was the perfect song to end the concert. Yes. All22 says Hang Sung and Arson are tied for me. Yeah. Janelle says Equal Sign, Hope World, and Future. Yumi says Arson was amazing. Wendy's having FOMO because she wanted to go. Bung Luna says Pop. MK says Baseline Hang Sung. Yes. And then Hobie going Sing It, and Are We did. Yes. Yes. Man, like, there's some things that when we get a chance to showcase how well we know your beloved music, BTS, and how enthusiastically we consume it, and to have this, like, physical IRL proof of how much we passionately adore them, I love it. I love it. I love it. I want every non-fan to see how amazing we are. I want every non-fan to be jealous and every other artist to be envious of the kind of relationship that we have with each other and with BTS. Because they should be. We're the fucking best. There's no better hobby than being a BTS fan. There's also no more expensive hobby than being a BTS fan, but that's okay. MK says when he asked the crowd to clap and then Daydream came up with the iconic clap. Yes! Man, like, he really thought through that entire performance. So fucking perfect. I said, my other notes said that like an hour-long set really gave Hobie the space to showcase everything he could do and carry the crowd on a musical journey. The surprise appearance of Becky G and then performing Chicken Noodle Soup together somehow also felt nostalgic. It just felt right. Because that song was from 2019, and even if the whole world has like ground to a halt with the pandemic and it all feels like 2019 was like last year, it still also felt nostalgic. Like that was a time, that was a different time, that was a happy time, and we can bring that happy time into the future. I also like that Hobie thanked the band members at the end of his performance. That's so classy. That's just so classy. And then in all caps, I loved how massive the ARMY crowd was for him and how loud and enthusiastic. And then I'm so fucking proud of him. This was so incredibly done. Well done. I can't wait to rewatch it. Can we rewatch it? I haven't tried yet. Is it available on Hulu or Weverse for rewatch? Well, I don't think it would be available for me on Weverse, but maybe I can try. MK says, look upon us and BTS with envy. Yeah, be fucking jealous. We have the best life here. It's on YouTube. It's on Bank. Did I miss the notification for this? I guess I did. Awesome. Okay, then I'm definitely rewatching all of it. I mean, like, honestly, how do I explain that from start to finish, it was so beautifully planned out and performed and executed that it is like this beautiful thing all wrapped up. Oh, I just realized the music ended. You guys didn't mention anything. Sorry, sitting in silence. I don't have my headphones in, so I don't know what you're listening to anymore. But yeah, and it's like, there's been only a few performances outside of BTS where I felt like this was perfect from start to finish. This was like a perfect length, perfect pacing, perfect performance. I was emotionally invested. And for the longest time, the only artist that I could think of where I felt like this outside of BTS was when Beyonce did the halftime show in 2015, 2016, something like that. 2015, I think. That was like the only performance where I was just like, this is a complete package. It's beautiful. It's well done. And I mean, like, I don't put BTS concerts in this category because they are like an experience. It's like a 3-hour experience, like religious experience. But I think Hobie's 1 hour and 10 minute set like was a beautifully well packaged, perfectly designed piece of art. I want him to know this. How do I convey this to him? I need him to know that he succeeded beyond my wildest expectations and dreams. Ellie says the live band was amazing. I hope BTS can work with them again. Yeah, they were great. I also like that one of the guys was just shirtless. They were all really sweaty. It was probably really hot that night, wasn't it? 22 says BTS was a live band, always top tier. I need more of it. Give it to me. Yes. I don't know what it is about the live bands, but it brings even more life into their music, it's just so fun. MK says the live band just adds something extra to the performance. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, Yumi says, I rarely watch live performances outside of BTS. I'm a super casual listener of music, except BTS. Exactly. Like, I discovered BTS after that 2015 Beyonce performance. So, like, once I discovered BTS, everyone else faded into the background. Like, there was no one at their caliber. No one capable of doing what they could do. It's just the truth. So why would I settle for less? I've tried. Like, there are some artists that I like, but my expectations of them are way lower. Because BTS feeds me so well that I also rarely also get hungry for other artists in the same way. You know what I mean? Like, if I want an emotional catharsis, if I enjoy my artist to fan connection, I love their performances, I will travel to see them. I will do that for very few other fans, and even if I do, my expectation of what they can give me is a lot lower. I only have room in my heart for BTS. Whispers, concert remixes. Yes! I want concert remixes so bad. Come on, Hybe. Come on, Big Hit. Haven't we been good enough? Haven't we given you everything? Ugh. Ot22 says, I don't know if you heard, but apparently that OT7 concert in Busan is going to be for free. Not sure exactly what that means, but that's what I saw on Twitter. If it's gonna be for free, it's gonna be a bloodbath. You're gonna have armies camping out a week in advance. If not more. Maybe they should make it not free, just to avoid dangerous situations. We're all crazy. We are, like, that's what I really liked about the Bad Decisions video. That we can all acknowledge this behavior is a little crazy, even as we ourselves continue to participate in it and go, and look at it from the side and go, I understand you, I admire your commitment, good luck, and I'm jealous. If you camp out for a week and you get to be at Barricade, I hate you and I love you, but good luck and I'm jealous. Like, it's that, like, complicated mix of, like, we know we're over the top, we can't help it. If Hobie, MK says, if Hobie put out an album of this live performance, I'd buy it in a second. Same. I want the live recording. I want his comments in there. I want him saying, you guys are fucking crazy. I want him saying that he's about to die. Emiya says, never really paid attention to any artist until BTS. Yeah. That happens so often. There's so many of us who feel like that. It's crazy. It's also just funny because, you know, we talk about how, or I was talking before about how, you know, casual music fans think ARMY is crazy for being like this. Fact is, there's a lot of us who were casual music fans before BTS. And then we discovered BTS and suddenly we were not so casual anymore. So I think that's also why we look at, like, I look at current casual fans and I'm like, honey, you ain't superior. You're kind of missing out because you vibe to the music. I live with the music and my life is so much more enriched and I have so much more joy in my life because of it. But I also remember once upon a time being in your shoes and thinking that that's fine. I'm happy with my being a casual music fan. I don't need anything more. I don't need to spend money on an artist beyond the reasonable amount. Like, it's okay. It's okay. I don't need to buy every merch item in existence. I don't need to decorate my office for a because of my interest in an artist, that would be crazy. That would be over the top. I don't need to start a YouTube channel so I can continue to gush and praise these artists. Famous last words. Yumi says hopefully it is only a free stream for the concert. I mean, I think the stream should be free because the whole point of this is they're trying to show, Busan is trying to prove that the amount of attention they would get because of BTS is insane. And therefore, they should be the ones chosen for the World Expo because the amount of attention that World Expo would get if BTS attend would be insane. So to that standpoint, if you just make a free stream and then, which is I think maybe in part why the Weaver stream for Lollapalooza was free, was they were trying to test, like, do we have the capability to facilitate this many people streaming and how many people would show up. So they got 14 million, right? Over 14, almost 15 million people watching that. So I think that is sufficient interest for them to win the expo. That's my thinking. 22 says, I almost forgot about the song they're doing with Hyundai. FIFA saying they may even do a live performance in Qatar. They're booked and busy. Oh my god, a live performance in Qatar. What the fuck? What the fuck? We're Chapter 2 is amazing. Chapter 2 feels like the natural extension of their career. I am so happy. I'm so excited. I'm so overwhelmed in the best possible way. And literally, again, every time someone I know says, I heard about BTS taking a hiatus, breaking up, are you okay? I'm like, I'm doing better than ever. I am overwhelmed with content. I am not sad at all. I don't know. Please keep your apology and condolences. I don't need them unless you want to, you know, take a moment of silence for my missing free time and good sleep schedule. Busan is expecting 100K visitors apparently, according to Twitter. Yeah, I would. This is gonna be insane. Do we have a date, or do we just know it's sometime in October? That would make sense if they didn't release a date yet, because otherwise you'd have a million people immediately booking flights to make sure they would be there. MK says, I need to spend money on BTS so Namjoon can purchase millions of dollars worth of art to put in his home. Yes. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I am not a big modern art person in the sense that I cannot interpret it. I don't know how. I like some modern art. Like I read a book once that was like, what was it called? I think it was called How a Painting is Like a Pizza. And it talked about how to interpret modern art and how modern art is basically just there to invoke a reaction in you. So whatever your reaction to it is, whether it's positive, negative, whatever, is valid. That I've stuck to that principle and that like tidbit all my life, because there's a lot of modern art I look at and I'm like, what the fuck is this? I don't get it. What the fuck is this? So there's like a bunch of photos that Namjoon posts that are like really artistic and aesthetically pleasing, and I'm just like, what the fuck is this? I don't know what it is. Namjoon, you are smarter than me because I don't get it. And then sometimes he has like comments, you know, or he's ranted about like in interviews about his opinion on modern art and how much it makes him think when he goes to visit places, and I'm just like, that is a doorway. I don't get it. Okay. You do you, boo. World Cup. The World Cup song. Yeah. MK says, isn't it interesting that once BTS said they're moving on to their chapter 2, others started using the same phrase for what they're doing? Yeah, but I see that. Other people will forever copy BTS because BTS somehow show that, like, oh, something is trendy. But that's how other people interpret BTS's behavior or the path they choose to make or them announcing their chapter 2, blah, blah, blah. And when they see ARMY's reactions, they go, oh, this is a popular thing to do. And like, this is trendy. We should do it too. But what those other labels and agencies and whatever don't seem to understand is that we respond enthusiastically because we are fans of BTS, because we love them, and because we support them and them alone in what they want to do. That is why our response is so enthusiastic, not because we in general love the concept of a band turning into their chapter 2. So if they want to copy that shit, fine, okay. At the end of the day, it's not going to enrich your artist fan base because you're borrowing a phrase and a concept that was created and meant for a different fan base. It's the same way you've had some people try to borrow Borahae, you know, like the I Purple You stuff. It doesn't work. It doesn't hit. It doesn't connect because you are trying to improve your fandom, your fan base, your loyal base, using something that is intended and has meaning for someone else. They're not going to react the same way. It's like, it's apples and oranges. Like, it's so obvious to me, and I'm just like, okay, go ahead, try. No one's going to care. And have we seen people caring? Not really. Like, fine, if, like, and I don't begrudge other artists and their fan base, like, doing whatever. Like, they're all just trying to have a good time too, right? Whatever, go enjoy, have your fun little fun time. Whatever, I don't care. I am having the better time. I already won. I don't need to fight with you. I'm already having the better experience that keeps on giving and giving and giving and never fucking stops. I don't need to fight you. Run BTS in a few days. Yeah. We just know the concert is mid-October for now. FY says I recently booked my vacation to Korea for end of October. This was before it was confirmed they are doing an October concert. That would be awesome if you could make it happen and go there. But just know it will probably, if this thing is free, it will involve you camping out for a long time. So I don't know how much fun that would be to do on a vacation. So maybe you don't want to be there for it. Maybe you want to just miss it so you don't have to worry about missing out on other vacation stuff. It's tough to be an ARMY. We're all fucking insane. The best possible way. Oh, thank God, 2.5 hours. This has been really fun to chat with you guys. I hope you've had fun talking to me. I had like a long list of things that I wanted to talk about in like a specific order. We didn't go into this any order at all. We just went all over the place, which is more fun this way. You guys still listening to music? No, you are not. Or are you? Oh, you are. Just soaking in the atmosphere is enough. That is true. It'll be a festival around that time. I bet you the whole month of October will be a festival in Busan or maybe in all of South Korea to just, you know, kind of be like, look how great it is here. We should host the World Expo here. Everybody would have a good time if they came here. Gotta go insane to stay sane. Indeed. Jimin's birthday is in October too. It'll be so much fun. Yeah, very true. Lots of, hopefully lots of birthday events for him. That'll be fun. Okay, alrighty. I have talked your ear off long enough. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. This was fun. There is never a dull day in this fandom, and every time you think there's gonna be a dull day, other shit comes up. Sometimes not so good shit, but yeah, most of the time it's a good time in here, and especially lately. Lately, it's just a lot of fun. Yeah. Alrighty, have a lovely night, guys, or day, or afternoon, whatever you guys are doing and wherever in the world you are. I will talk to you next time. Bye, guys.